tell you something right now, ladies and gentlemen. We got some men up in this bad boy. We got,
couple 1, 2, 3, 4 men up in this bitch.
We got Nick Palmisciano, and that's exactly how you say his name, Nick Palmisciano. And sometimes I'm sure
call him Nicky P.
I'm sure in the field they call him Shamo. Hey, Shamo! Shamo!
Get out, Shamo!
Shamo, get over here. We need some MREs.
Shamu.
I never did a day in the service, but I like talking this way. And then we got the dime piece of all dime pieces, the guy that makes Brendan Schaub look like a fucking sea urchin. All right, like a sea cucumber. His name is Matt Best.
It's not true.
Hey,
your skin could.
Hey,
be
you and
smoother.
me next to them, we look like two twinks, and these guys, and we look like we're your sugar babies. We look like two sugar babies next to them.
I wish
You're,
I
all
right.
right, you're not a twink. You're an otter. An otter is like where you're not a bear.
No, I'm a bear.
You're
I
not-
thought I was a bear.
Yeah,
No,
you're
a bear
hairless
is like super hairy.
But he's big,
An
right?
otter's like
Yeah, but
a
like
buff
hair-
guy, but like handsome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, otter's more respectable.
But that
I
doesn't
think.
make sense because otters are small animals.
The mountain would
that's-
be a bear.
Listen, I didn't write the rules.
Yes, you did.
I didn't write
Yes,
the
you
rules.
did. Matt Best.
I just listened to him. Wait, what?
Wait,
So would
hold
you be
on.
considered a bear? Because you're kind of a hairy dude.
Well, no, I'm an otter too. I think.
Dude, he's
Like,
not even hairy. Can I be honest with you? Matt Best has a great beard that couldn't be trimmer and tight to his face, and the rest of his body is hairless.
Dude, he's me hitting on you all
thick
day.
and red.
I apologize.
I know.
He's just to let you guys know.
Welcome to LA. I get it. Welcome
All
to
the stuff
LA.
you've done in war, battle, he doesn't give a fuck.
Matt
You're just going
Best.
to comment on your
your
physical
physique.
ability.
Well, this is how I introduce you. Matt Best, thick and ready. He's Matt Best and his buddy, Nick Palmisciano, otherwise known as Shamu.
No, but you guys are here because you guys, and we were part of it, very small part of
you
it.
guys were a great
Ranger
part. What a great part of
15.
it. Yeah. Great part
Ranger
of it.
15
Yeah, the
is the
backbone of
first. Is the first movie that was funded by all vets, correct? And you guys raised the money through the veterans.
Yeah, yep. The whole movie was funded by the veteran community, written by the veteran community. Veterans act in it. 75% of the cast and crew were veterans.
Dang.
You,
Well,
you,
when I
got,
went
you guys
there,
were the 30%.
When I got there, it was such a motley crew of like when it's so interesting when if any guy thinks they're tough, and then you go there and you're around a couple Medal of Honor winners and Navy Cross winners and just special forces guys, and you go, oh well, I should just keep my mouth shut here because it's
Who
just
would
a
go
bunch
on
of
that
barrel-
set though, thinking they're tough?
This guy,
Dude, it's
this
actually-
guy,
Oh, no.
this guy right here.
The first day we showed up to
no.
the set, we had hired security because there's so many big name veterans there, and we literally walked up to the 2 or 3 security guards. Where they're like, "Hey man, like if shit goes down, just throw your gun to one of us."
Yeah, for real.
Nothing against you, but your 30-hour course. I mean, you got Tim Kennedy over there, Leroy Petrie, Medal of Honor, so being like, they can probably shoot it better.
Lord.
Let's
So-
just
That's right,
let's just
Tim.
throw it over there.
You guys are busy dudes. Like you own a coffee company, clothing line. You have all sorts of shit going on. You have your own shit going on. Whose idea was it to come up with a movie? Because the moving parts to create a motion picture is
I
insane.
don't think we really knew how busy it was going to be.
It's
you know?
crazy. So Jared, who is Matt's business partner, came to me with an idea that Matt, Rocco, and Jared had put together and said, what do you think? And I was like, this script is awesome. Like, I think there's really something here. And they were like, you want to do it? I was like, yeah, let's do this. And that's really how it started. And then 2 years later, we're
You
finally
got Ross
dropping.
Patterson, the madman.
Right.
That was a big part of it, is because we needed a director that could read our shit and actually do it. Be
Why
willing
him?
to do it.
Why him out of all the? there's a lot of directors
He
out
as a director, because what we wanted to stay true to, like the culture of the military, we're fucking crazy people, and we've been through a lot of insane circumstances. We kind of want to portray that in the movie, and Ross was the only director I think that could really be like, do what you guys want to do creatively, and I'll hone it in on like the Hollywood movie side where the production will be correct, but you can still have the creative outcome that you want to have.
Did you guys have a relationship with him prior, or someone recommend him to you?
Jared was a huge fan of some of his movies.
FDR American Badass, I think.
Yep, FDR American Badass is one of his favorites, and he reached out to him, and Ross, he straight up told us, he's like, I only answered the email because you guys are vets, because he says every day he gets 4,000 emails that are like, I've got a great script idea, I want to make a movie.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
And so he answered it and just said, like, I'll talk to these guys, and he told us he didn't think we were ever going to get it funded or get it made, but that if we did, that he'd be happy to be on board.
Whose idea was it to fund it that way? It's brilliant. Obviously, you guys had no problem.
I don't know. I
It
think
was, it was a collective thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because the funny part of it, like my clothing company, Article 15, and Nick's Ranger Up are actually competitors in the space.
That's
So
right.
we came together as just like, hey, dude, fuck it, let's let's just combine forces and use our social media platforms and see how much money we can raise in Indiegogo. And then I think $1.1 million later, I think we're fairly successful.
One of the things that I noticed that you forget until it's in your face is exactly what it means when somebody's actually really injured. When you see a guy come up to you as a young dude full of life with no legs, no arms, that stuff, of course, I never get used to. I'm sure you guys don't. I'm sure it's fuel for the fire, but I guess what was also interesting when I came to do that stand-up gig that I ended up not being able to do because I got pumped by Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that's right.
And but it was good to be there, and I saw a lot of guys there that were obviously doing the best they could with their injuries, but there's such significant injuries, man. It's such a life-altering thing, obviously, for a 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old guy to say, I don't have any legs. Whatever it might be, all the thousands of things that go on. And but it seemed to me also that you guys really have created a community for that, or at least when you're on set. Now you have to go home alone a lot of times, so it's a very different thing. But
how cool is everyone on set? Like we met a young girl where she was missing
both arms.
Both arms.
Mary Digg,
Yeah,
we
she
love
was
her. She's
awesome.
actually in LA
She's
right now
awesome.
for the premiere.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Amazing.
She's got a great fucking attitude, but that's where you realize, when you guys talk about the ultimate sacrifice, it's got to be so fucking humbling on a daily basis. I guess what I'm saying, and I want you to talk about it, is when you go through that kind of combat, you see those kinds of injuries. I guess you never come back really the same. You never come back really, your perspective on life. How has it changed for you?
Well, I think that is kind of a misconception a lot of the times in my own eyes of how this civilian society judges the veteran community. It's like, all right, you guys had all this crazy experiences. Now you come back different. You're changed. Potentially you're broken, whatever this is. And I think a lot of times the outcomes of injuries and crazy environments that we've been involved with, it actually has changed my life for the better. Like I've had to learn how to deal with certain things, but ultimately it has made me the most motivated, devoted person to my community, my culture, and America as a whole because go ahead.
Yeah, the hardest part about, I think, that veterans have, it's not that kind of stuff. It's not what people think, where you see these horrible things, you live through these horrible things, and then you come back and have to deal with it. It's that you are in a group of people that all have the same mission, that care about each other, that work together, that support each other, and then you leave and you go into the civilian world where no one gives a shit about you.
Yeah.
And you don't have a mission anymore. It's not, whatever you're doing, it never feels as important as being
trying to save somebody's life or whatever.
Of being deployed, of having, representing your country, of, having responsibility for each other, the mission of the United States.
Sure.
It's never as important, and now you're alone. And that's where guys get in trouble. They start.
So what do we do about that? That's a really interesting thing because they talk about a lot of cultures in history. It always had a transition for warriors to come back into society. Right. It was a very important bridge. Many societies had actual rituals and sort of, I guess, a cooling off period of where it is because you get somebody who goes through these very extreme circumstances. I would imagine for 1,000 physical reasons and mental reasons, you almost can sometimes get addicted to that world, or you're living very close to the flame. And it's over, and go ahead and go get yourself a job and do everything else in this quiet community of yours. That's what.
But you guys also have a set of particular skills that they could really, I think most companies could use.
Not necessarily.
It doesn't make sense.
Not necessarily for a lot of companies. I'm just saying that they. I don't know if that's.
Well, let's see what they think of it.
I don't know.
Let's see what the veterans
I don't know
think of it.
What I'm saying is I don't know that a lot of vets would find that to be true because sometimes, from my experience and from what I've read, yes, you have skill sets, discipline, and all those things, but a lot of times some of those skill sets don't necessarily transfer to, I don't know,
the workplace. You're saying
Apple space or whatever it might be.
Well, I'm not saying they're going to write
computer.
They're not going to be computer programmers, but I'm sure there's certain skills that veterans have that a lot of companies could work with.
So, as a perspective, the veteran community starts more companies per capita than any other population, and is more successful in producing profitable companies than any other population.
They have a crazy skill set.
So I think that a lot of
Yeah.
people have an impression of veterans that we're automaton droids. We have to follow a regimented schedule or we can't function. But the reality is that most of the stuff that you do on deployment, most of the stuff that you do in training is you coming up with solutions to creative environments. Like the first, when I went to Kosovo, we were living in an embalming station. It was when it rained the first time, it rained rat feces on top of us, right? There was no one there that had training fixing a roof, but guess what we did the next day?
Fix that roof.
You fixed the fucking roof.
Figured out how to fix the roof.
Not a fan of rat feces.
So for a guy coming back from, what do you tell a lot of young veterans when they're having trouble adjusting? What are the things that you talk to them about, if you could?
Yeah, I think that's something like what Nick and I and collectively with our companies try to do is change the narrative of what a veteran is in contemporary society. Everybody has this perspective on us, and he just talked about that. But really what I think we have to focus on is the transitional piece. I mean, I have 5 deployments as a Ranger and did some other stuff, and I never had an issue with anything that I saw or did. It was when I got back coming out as a 24-year-old guy to special operations, and I was a nobody. I was like, well, but I used to be so cool. My mom's proud of me, and then now I'm just this loser. And that was the hard part for me. It's like, where's my purpose? What am I going to do?
Don't you think everyone has that? And I'm not saying,
across the board as a fighter, right? Retiring as a fighter,
as a professional athlete,
right.
As a college student who has a degree,
right.
and you have the strict schedule, and then you get out and you're in the real world, and it's survival of the fittest.
You sent me that article.
So I think everyone deals with, obviously you guys to a bigger extent.
That's the problem.
Everyone deals with the
let's
same
not isolate
thing.
veterans. They're experiencing something different. They're the same kind of emotions and transitional things. It's just a different experience.
You guys are graduating from that part of life, and now you're trying to find something else.
It's a new chapter
everyone
in life.
Goes through it.
Pro football. You sent me that article on pro
think
football where their lives are so regimented.
Right.
All of a sudden it stops, and now they got to.
That's with everything though. College kids, you have a strict schedule. You have summers off. You have spring break. You have this class schedule. College sports, this. Professional sports, this. Military, this, and then you get out and you don't have that, then everyone's floating around.
The major difference, I think, with the military is that society has changed. In World War II, 11.2% of all people served in the military. In Vietnam, 4.3% of the population did. For the War on Terror, which is the longest war we've ever had, 0.45% of the population served in the military.
So fucking Wikipedia over here.
Yeah,
because
like the Rain Man of the military.
So the draft goes away. Now you basically have to, if you're not part of the military community, you might not even know anybody that served.
Sure.
So you feel more and more alone, whereas a guy gets back from World War II, he's got to transition, but every friend he has served and has something, so gets it.
And would you say, especially with World War II, when they came home, they received like a warm reception, like it was more of like a heroic thing? And then now, because, so how some people are so divided with the war and what we're doing over there.
I mean, but you can use Vietnam as an instance. I mean, those guys came back. My dad's a Vietnam vet, and they spit on him, cursed him out and all that.
Yeah.
So I honestly think social media has a huge, part of that, because when you came back in maybe the 50s or something, you kind of can detach yourself. You came back in a boat. You isolated yourself away from that experience. Now you're over in a war zone. The next day you're back stateside, and then you're seeing these pictures. You're reliving that
CNN.
stuff. It's kind of hard to break away from that, and it takes like an actual like present like mind understanding of yourself to be like, all right, I got to move on. This is something new in my life. I have to find new purpose. And it's kind of what we're trying to be advocates for, that life is awesome and you can live it. Just, you have to find.
You guys aren't damaged goods. It's the same as everyone else. But I think society, even Brian started out with, it's going to be tough for people. I think that's the way most society
victims,
thinks.
like you think of them
victims,
as victims.
PTSD. Oh my God, you guys are screwed. But don't you think a lot of it has to do with the way Hollywood portrays you guys?
For sure.
You get American Sniper, you get Zero Dark 30. You see the certain stuff.
He always says either general civilian society portrays veterans as, insane Superman heroes that, don't feel pain, or broken warriors that want to suck down pills and alcohol.
Not normal people.
There's not normal people. And we're like, most of us are just normal dudes, man. Like,
that's what it is.
We shit and piss like everybody else.
Man. So you're just in this transition period, just like a ton of other people have gone through. But people assume that you guys have some sort of broken system, whether it's your PTSD.
I also
or
imagine
something.
most people that go through something like tough like that tend to say, if I can survive this, I can survive fucking anything. So you come back even stronger and with more of a sort of stable attitude.
Yeah, for sure.
What I was surprised to hear is, I think it was on a TED Talk. Rogan mentioned it too on his podcast. There's a TED Talk where they're talking about the camaraderie between the guys and how you talk to some military guys who have been through some shit, and they're like, most people are like, God, thank God you made it out of it. And they're like, when can I go back?
Yeah.
Because nothing brings guys closer together than when you go through a unique experience, when your life is on the line. I get a little bit, nowhere near to your guys' level from fighting. Even after I would fight a guy, who we could hate each other, but we shared this unique experience that very few get to experience. And the bond you have together is insane, man. You're literally like, I love you, man. I don't fucking know the guy. We just punch each other in the face, but we experience this intense relationship together. So they were saying how most veterans and badasses, like when they get out, most people are like, dude, thank God that's over. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Let's go do it again. Which I don't think a lot of people can relate to, and not at all.
Yeah. They've done studies on that. They've done.
We're both like, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
man.
it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, there you go. You're like,
Yeah, but this scientist was talking about the new science on stress. She said, when you think of stress, and she used, I'll tie this in. When you think of stress as something that's bad for you, and you're like, oh, I'm so stressed, I can't deal with this. Now what they tell people who suffer from anxiety and stress is they go, listen, actually, if you embrace it and say, for example, as an example, you say to yourself, this is my body getting ready for action. That kind of stress, the anxiety, can actually be good for your body and your heart. And it's the same, it's also a bonding chemical. So when you're under stress, so they found that when veterans are under stress, life and death situation, your body actually produces oxytocin, I think, and a couple of other chemicals that are bonding chemicals. So you actually physically and chemically grow closer to the people that you're experiencing this with.
I think it's the same thing like whenever you first started fighting or sparring, it's like the thought of getting punched in the face you get crazy, you want to freak out, but then the more and more you become comfortable under that stress, just like in a firefight, you start to actually like crave that feeling because it's like it elevates your body. It's a drug, It releases these endorphins, and it's a hard place for a lot of guys to spend multiple trips in a war zone and then take that away from them because that is their drug,
And you can't duplicate
that is their
it.
outlet.
There's no vice for that. You can't duplicate it anywhere.
Nothing touches it.
Nothing.
Nothing.
One thing that helps for a lot of guys is training MMA.
Yeah,
really.
There's a ton of nonprofits popping up that are basically, or just gyms will lend out time to vets.
There's a big one in San Diego. It's mainly all vets.
Yep.
I told them I'd come down there. I'm sorry, you guys, I haven't been down there, but
I
forget what it is.
Yeah,
I'll come down with you, buddy.
Yeah, they'd love to see you.
Hey guys, what's up?
What's up?
Let's do some single.
Let them get their hands on you.
Hey guys, Brendan goes, hey guys, so I'm gonna teach you some stuff, and then we'll throw Brian in the middle, and you guys get your hands on him. How's that sound? Guys, get your hands.
I'm gonna show you the techniques, and every one of you line up and just demonstrate on Brian.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you now. By the way, very important about Range 15, funny movie. Silly movie, which and again
they let us go.
We're talking about veterans and all these things. The most important thing in life, especially I'm sure in shitty situations, is how much you're fucking laughing.
Humor,
I don't give a shit. Like every time you see tough guys, like in movies, actors will try to act tough. So they're soldiers and they're like, let's go, man. I cut myself. Keep going, man. Let me tie this fucking tourniquet. And there's no humor at all, man. We got these bears chasing us through the woods. Let's go. Hey, man, you go ahead. I'm going to die. When in reality, from what I understand, there's a shitload of grab ass.
You know how many times I've had a few buddies get shot in the leg, and it was my go-to when I'm always just like, hey, man, do we want to call a medevac, or can you just walk this off?
There you go.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
What else do you have besides being a fucking idiot?
You got to laugh, man. That's what life's about.
Well, when Marcus Luttrell, there's a shot in the movie where he's like,
is he the lone survivor guy, or is he American Sniper?
He's the lone survivor.
Lone survivor.
He's been through some shit, lost all his friends, and meanwhile he's like, Navy SEALs never die. There's this scene where he just comes out covered in blood. I don't remember
when you guys see those movies. Are you laughing at them? Is it some bullshit? What do you think?
No,
I know. I mean, obviously, America loves them. I love them. I'm like, damn, look at these, like Zero Dark 30. I can't get enough of them.
Yeah. Well, American Sniper wasn't that, and Hurt Locker, were they pretty? They seemed like they were pretty.
The Hurt Locker is the worst.
Oh, you hate why?
The worst military movie ever made.
I need to hear about this.
It really
there is nothing.
I assume they're bullshit. You thought they were real?
Hey, dude.
Oh, god damn it!
I didn't say
You're
it real.
too old for this.
No. It depends. Some movies are decent, like American Sniper. I enjoyed.
Black Hawk Down,
Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
Very real.
Lone Survivor.
Lone Survivor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like those are not necessarily direct, like super accurate representations of the events that happened, but like the portrayal of the situations was good, and it's an action movie, and you can get into it. But
Which ones did you hate?
I mean,
Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker is
like,
the
come
worst.
on.
It's
Really?
just the worst.
Why?
Yeah. It's just total
He's
bullshit.
he's an EOD tech,
Yeah.
so like an explosive ordnance
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
and
He's a rebel.
and then
He's a cowboy.
he's
You don't get
risking
to
his
do that.
platoon in black clothes and going
All
into the
the
city
time.
alone, like
Yeah.
Jason Bourne.
They
like,
would kill him, right? You'd be dead right away.
I mean, but
You'd also
he
get in
just wouldn't
trouble.
do it. Like, it would never happen.
never happen.
It would never happen.
What
And,
was
like,
the other
That's
one?
what I fucking said.
What was the other one you didn't like?
just about any other movie.
Because they're movies.
Was Zero Dark 30 close or no?
I watched it. I forget.
I feel like it was closer.
Yeah. Do you know what was very realistic? And I don't give a shit what anybody says. You know what was the most realistic
here
movie
comes.
ever?
Top
Gun?
Ever? Range 15.
Range-
So if you guys want to see what it's really about, dude,
Because they had us in it as some.
how about you and I? My helmet didn't fit.
That
By
was
the way,
hot.
when
It kept falling
I went to Afghanistan and I went to do some stand up for the guys.
USO?
Yeah, and
Nice. Awesome.
a Marine put all his stuff on me,
Yep.
as in his flak jacket,
Yeah.
helmet, gun. Dude,
It's heavy.
Dude, look, I'm a 170-pound guy. I don't need to tell you guys, I'm shredded. I look like I'm a fucking cheetah.
You whipped the guns out
with
earlier.
Human
You
skin
whipped the
on
guns
it.
out.
All bullshit aside, I put that on. I kind of started to panic. I went, first of all, I'm not running anywhere. If bullets are flying, I will be waddling to the nearest wall because I couldn't move in that shit. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
Dude, the UFC had this thing. I'm not going to say the names, but the UFC had this thing where they sent us to the Sierra Nevada mountains, some remote like location up there where there's Marines. I think are up. Certain kind of Marines are up there.
I don't know.
It was some weird thing. I don't know.
who's up there.
But they wanted to see how UFC fighters would do. Trying to do the Marine combat, like whatever the special Marine guys are. So they sent us up
Force
there.
One recon or something?
I'm not sure what it was. They
It's
sent
called
us up there at.
This guy knows.
Guys,
This
I got
guy
this.
knows.
There
You have
go.
to say in the voice though. Recon.
There you go.
Recon,
There you
recon,
go.
go
There
on.
you go.
Yeah,
So
go on.
we get there at 5 a.m. and we were there for 4 days. And they'd wake us up early. We'd eat with the guys, and they put us in all the boots, the guns, everything. We have to do all their missions. Now there's cameras there, and there's 4 UFC badasses. I'm gonna say names. Myself, Ben Henderson, and the other 2 is whatever. And we had to go on this run up the mountain like they had to do for a certain amount of time, blah, blah, blah. And when we get up there, the surprise was one of the guys got shot, and we have to carry him down. You don't leave a man behind. So they had a dummy that was 225 pounds. We had to hold him down.
Smokes you, huh?
We're on this skinny mountain, like walking it's game over. There's no more UFC fighters who fall off. There's nothing. And the producer's like, dude, if we would have known it was this dangerous, there's no way Dana White would have let you guys do this. Like, when he sees this footage, he's going to freak out. So we're doing it, and one of the UFC fighters, again, I'm going to say his name, he's like, I can't do it. I can't go on. It's too heavy. I was like, bro, there's cameras everywhere.
Come on.
Right now,
You put a camera on Big Brown.
Right now, the contest is to see if we can actually make it through it. For sure, man. I was like, I got to switch sides. I was like, are you crying right now? I'm like, oh, shit, you guys got to edit this. They're like, the camera guy's like, Fuck, man. I'll never forget that. I was like, bro, there's cameras everywhere, and you're about to quit right now, man.
Yikes.
Yeah, he was dying. All of us were fucking dead. Spent.
And you guys
But
train hard,
Spent,
so, yeah.
man. Oh, and they had one where they had like a sniper thing where there's like I don't know what you call it, like a blind.
Like a sniper sight.
A
Guys, I
sniper
got
blind.
this. Hold on. It's a sniper sight.
There you go.
Sometimes we call it a nest.
But it was in on a mountain, and I guess one guy looks and tells the one where to navigate and then fire.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't realize how big I was, so I was in the sniper blind with my feet out. I'm like trying, but I'm lying because I was embarrassed. I didn't want him to know that I couldn't see anything, and I was like, more to the left. Fire. You're fucking lying. Yeah, I was lying. And the guy running the thing goes, this is terrible. Everyone can see you. You'd be dead by now if this is real life.
Your feet would be gone.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That was terrible. Terrible.
See, it's cool to be big in the UFC, but not in war. You know, you want to be like
Terrible,
Ryan,
right?
a little smaller.
But maybe-
Nothing against your stature,
No,
but
but
you know.
special
don't say
forces
small. Just
guys-
Don't say small. Just say
Petite?
No, don't say that either. Don't say that either. Just say
Malnourished?
elusive. No, don't say that either. Say,
Dallas Buyers Club style?
No, don't say that either. Say elusive and supple. Just say that.
Supple and elusive.
Hey,
okay.
but-
And cat-like.
Cat-like. But special forces guys are kind of big, right? Like, you're a big dude, man. Like, you're not a small guy.
Carry
brother.
a lot of shit.
I wasn't special forces. I was special operations. We'll clear that up.
What's the difference?
Hold on, I got this. Special
Hey,
forces.
I don't want to hear from the actors, comedians.
Special forces.
I don't want to hear from the sometimes comedian actors.
SF is Green Berets, you fucking
So-
asshole.
Oh, he's dropping bombs over here.
So special forces and special operations, what's the difference?
Special forces is usually the term used for Green Berets, which are usually they do a FID mission, which is training indigenous forces. Special operations kind of encompasses the whole thing, like Force Recon, MARSOC, which is the Marine Special Operations, Rangers, Delta Force,
So operations
SEALs.
is a bigger deal.
It falls under JSOC, which is the umbrella under all of them.
Joint
So
Special
Special Forces
Operations.
falls under Special Operations, but JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command, that's
But
the umbrella.
those guys are generally bigger, right? Or no?
It depends, man. You know, you never know with guys. I've seen dudes in SF and Ranger, like they'll be 5'5", $140. You're like, look at this pussy, and then he'll outruck you, outrun you, outpush up you. You're like, oh well, my bad, dude.
Yeah, he's
Sorry.
there for a reason. And then are the other guys bigger or no? Like, is it just not in?
There's a lot of big guys. It depends on the unit, but yeah, more direct action units like Rangers, DevGru, those kind of guys, you'll see some pretty giant humans.
DevGru meaning SEAL Team 6.
SEAL Team 6, sorry, yes.
They're bigger dudes.
Now, this guy knows his stuff.
I know.
He loves this stuff.
I'm fascinated with anybody who's very good at what they do, and I think that's an extreme example of masculinity. So I mean, it's Spartans. Guys are always.
That's funny. I was talking with some friends, some pro fighters. I won't name drop and stuff, but that I get along with so many pro fighters based on that same premise because it's like they were successful at the highest tier in their fighting, professional career, and then being in the military, it's like that whole mindset of let me go to the top. I get along with a lot of the guys, which is cool.
Matt, you were a Ranger for 5 deployments.
Yes.
And then you went on to other things.
Yes.
You can't really talk about those other things, right? Do you know how badly?
I can't. It just sounds lame.
You know how badly I want to be able to be
me
like,
too.
watch this. Ask me. This is how I would do it.
So what'd you do, bro?
This and that, brother.
This and that.
This and that. Few things here and there.
Why am I not playing
This and
badasses? Oh, because I'm too skinny.
Few
and
things
old.
here and there.
No, I got out of active duty, and then I was a contractor for the CIA for about 6 years.
Jesus.
And then my last.
He just did a lot of note taking, though.
Yes,
Like, a lot of
strictly
note-
note taking.
Then what was your background?
I was an infantry officer for 6 years.
That's
Ranger qualified as well, though. He's badass. He's a
Yeah,
badass.
man.
Oh no shit! Being an infantry officer, like being with the infantry and being out there and seeing a lot of action, that's no joke. That's.
He's still an officer, though.
I'm
you know.
just a crappy officer.
That's awesome, man. Let's go to current event because the next question I have, I know our current events is going to link up with some because I want to get your guys' take on this. You can jump in this one first, Ev, with the UCLA shooting. So there's UCLA shooting. More info came out, and then I'll get to my question for you guys because I want to know. What you guys would do in this situation. So go ahead and give the details, Ev. There's more details.
Yeah. So the first big detail that came out of the UCLA shooting was that the killer he had a full kill list. And the administrative guy at the school that he killed was on that list, as well as his wife, who they later found dead. So there were a couple other casualties, as well as this kill list.
God, what a dick.
So here's my question for you guys. Take that fucking psych guy who just had a kill list, like he's from Billy Madison or whatever. But so let's say there's your kids are on camp. Not even your kids. Let's say you are. Even now, there's a mass shooting somewhere. What's the first thing you guys do? Because you don't have to say if you do or not. I don't know if you have guns on you or not. Let's say you don't have a gun on you. What goes down? So you're at a movie theater. Let's say you're opening tonight, your premiere, Ranger 15, premiere, Los Angeles, Hollywood. Some fucking clown.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put that bad juju on me, Ricky Bobby. But so let's say he comes there tonight. Terrible mistake. But let's say he does. How would a guy with your capabilities and your talent, how would you handle it? Because civilians are going to have their word, right?
I think it's the same as a fight game, man. You never know when you're going to be compromised, man. You can find the baddest dude in the planet. He could be eating a taco and drinking a mimosa. You can blow his head off in the back. So, I mean, the difference between maybe a lot of guys that training stuff, there'll be a proactive approach to kind of end the situation, whether that's getting people out the back door to maintain life as much as you can, or a proactive approach to end the active shooter or whatever is going on. You can play a million different scenarios, but you never know. And
Depends on where you are,
where you are,
shooting.
and
You know,
ultimately, like,
do you have a shot at closing the distance, or do you just
being prepared in any situation, which it can take a toll on your mind, but like is kind of the best way to do it. You know, whenever I'm in a diner, I know where the exits are. I usually have my firearm on me. I know. You just read a situation real quick. That way, if stuff goes down, your livability is a lot higher than just chilling.
Yeah. Do either one of you have kids?
Yeah.
You have kids?
She's got all the kids.
How many kids you have?
I've got 6.
You're like Sean Kemp.
6
And you have
kids.
kids?
I do.
I do not.
Well
So
done.
let's say, so you have a kid. Let's say you have a
6
kid,
kids.
and
Yep.
your kid's at University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, and there's a mass shooter, and they say, all right, we're on lockdown. Stay in the classroom. Do you tell your kid just chill? What advice would you give to your kid if he's in a mass shooting situation on campus? Because like I said this on the last episode, I'm telling my kid, if they go, hey, we're on lockdown, stay in the classroom while these fucks come to the class. No. You get the fuck out, man. Run.
Yeah.
That can
Fucking
get you
run.
killed too. It depends on the situation.
Well, either way, you can get killed. I'm not saying don't be a sitting duck.
So the one thing I've told my kids is that if they come in the room, then close the distance and get them.
Yeah.
Go after them. I know that sounds crazy, but
Better than
if
sitting
somebody's coming in to shoot kids,
The Israelis actually teach that technique because it's like you can have 30 people get executed, or you can have 4 get shot and you smother the shooter. But it takes a different kind of person to run at a gun. But yeah.
Yeah. So my situation's different too because I've been on the ISIS kill list for over a year. So like
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
So my family does drills. Like
I'm kinda
my
mad,
kids
yeah.
are my kids are yeah.
Hold on.
Where's my hit list?
Hold the fuck up. You're on the ISIS kill list?
A lot of the crew and the cast is on the ISIS.
Why?
list.
I'm gonna need you
They're
to
trying to
get the fuck
kill
outta here right
well-known
now.
veterans.
Wait, what'd you say?
They're trying to kill well-known veterans. At least try to
Just to take
So,
you guys
smother
out.
us and say that we don't
So the-
support terror.
Wow.
The second phone call that I made after I found out was to Matt to ask him why he wasn't on the list yet. It's like, hey bro,
Too good looking.
Not famous enough
hey
yet.
bro, how come you're not on the list?
Yeah,
You know,
bro.
No, I have this ongoing joke because I have a fairly large social media that ISIS is over there, and like the main guys like,
Yeah.
you must kill him at the best, and then the other motherfucker's like, no, but the bikini snap, he's funny. Yeah,
You like him. He's funny.
I got so many guns.
I mean, so fun.
I feel like if I was ISIS, I would want to kill you more than me.
Me too.
I agree. I gotta agree with
Yeah,
that.
like I mean,
Yeah, but you're like more powerful as a businessman. So
yeah,
I
but
get
no one
that.
cares about that.
ISIS does though. They want to take out the network.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Tim Kennedy sent them his address.
Yeah,
Come and
He's-
get it.
He's
He
on
did.
the ISIS hit list.
He did.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said.
But
he
so
said,
that-
he goes,
But what's that mean? I mean, okay, so you come
They
over
got
here.
enough problems
No,
over there.
I mean it's it's legit. There are legitimately like things that occur, and the FBI lets you know if there's if
Well,
Really?
the
elevated.
danger,
Yeah.
it strikes me, is that not the crazy jihadi in Syria.
It's the idiot here.
It's the idiot here
Yeah.
who says, I'm delusional, but I wanna make a name.
I want to
for
make
myself."
make ISIS proud. I'm
Yeah,
here. I
yeah.
brainwash. So does the FBI give you a heads up on that?
Yeah, anytime that there's any
Jesus,
sort of
man.
like
So the struggle is real.
yeah, it's real.
I just thought it was some bullshit.
'em.
Wow. Yeah.
We always I use the term prepared, not scared. You can live your whole life wondering if you're going to get your head blown off, or you can just prepare like as
Yeah.
best as you can and then live a happy, fulfilled life.
That's right.
I'm gonna write. I put that on Pinterest this morning. I'm gonna live that every single day with my
Every single
emoji
day.
on my coffee.
Hey, everybody. You're funny in the movie, by the way. Your
So it-
acting is not bad. You got that southern.
Did you watch the movie?
I did watch a lot of it.
Oh,
he didn't watch.
Completely.
I did too, and I liked your sort of. You had a bit of a southern twang going. I felt. Is that fair to say?
that's just a douchebag.
I'm
high in
no,
douchebag.
you made a bit of a choice. There was a little bit of a. You were a little bit like you were. From
What else
Texas.
you got,
You are
Ev?
from Texas,
I
right?
live in Texas now, so
There you
that
go.
might be it. Yeah.
That was good.
All right, next one we got. This one's going to be pretty scary for you, Shab, in particular, I think. We're basically guaranteed to have a shitload more shark attacks this year than any other year ever.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
by the way,
simply
why?
based on climate change, warmer waters for longer periods, more sharks. And then just as population increases, more people in the ocean equals more sharks. to
And
eat.
real,
But
and
is
real
it per
quick,
capita?
Real quick.
Yeah,
That's where your special forces training means fucking
Zero.
That's let him go in the water.
It's fuck all.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Dev Gru. Oh, cool. Deal with that, fuckface.
Yeah.
So
UFC fighter, huh? That's cool.
Nom nom nom.
by the way, we were in the water, and this guy is he's just bobbing up and
I
down.
look like a
He's got his
seal.
hands and legs all tight. He looked like one big tasty seal. I'm like, dude, you're brown, you're smooth, and you're swimming well. And up, he's going up. He's dark. His head's up in the water. Then he's like, and going down. I'm like, dude, you're doing these little like
You're trying to bait the fucking
Yeah,
shark.
man.
He's loop to loop, and I'm like, bro, there's a 20-footer out there.
This is my thing, though. I'm not mad at the stat because more people in the water, that means my chance to get attacked, they go lower and lower, though. Like
But if the
I'm
shark
never by
numbers
myself.
increase,
Yeah, I know. I know it's tough, man.
I swim in a
It's
herd.
scary
But
for sure.
I wonder if the shark looks at you and like, that's a bigger meal. I want to go for
I
that
agree.
dude. He's big.
Or just go for the big fat
easier
white girl
one.
in the water.
Yeah, the easier one.
That's closer.
I
That's
usually-
closer to what they want to eat.
I
That's
know.
the big fat white girl in the water.
Is that? Do you always swim with big fat white girls?
Always. I always mark them out.
My
like,
friend Rebecca.
yeah,
What?
this is good. I'll tap the waters here.
I'm looking for a bunch
What's
of
up, girl? what are you about? Deuce and a half? Lime green bathing
Perfect. Let's
suit?
go swim
Yeah,
in.
let's swim here.
Lime green.
lime green bathing suit. You about a deuce and a half?
Yeah.
He
Is that
tweets
Big
it
Pun
out.
in the Terror Squad with wigs in the water? Yeah, I'll jump over there.
Yeah.
Tweets it out. Hey, I need a bunch of girls who like muffins. Now get out here. The bigger the better.
Nutty
swim in the
professors
group.
are in the water. I'm jumping on in.
Yeah, I don't get in the water. I'm terrified.
I
This
love it,
guy's
man.
petting crocodiles in Costa Rica. I'm like, stop hanging off the boat, dragging your hand across his spiny back. It's not a good idea.
Well, we got an offer to do our live tour, comedy tour in Australia. The only reason I want to go, granted, it'd be a great time, but I want me and Brian to jump in there with those great whites in the cage.
I did it in
Shit.
South Africa.
Was it cool?
How was it?
Yeah, so you go out on this tiny boat, and I'm used to seeing like National Geographic where they have these badass cages that are like unbreakable. Dude, it's made out of chicken wire.
Okay, well, that's not good.
It's chicken wire and like rusty poles.
Did you look for the best deal, though? Like, 2 for 1?
Hey, what do
Oh,
you-
come on, kids.
No, it
What's
was just
that
like
app,
we just
the-
went out.
the-
We didn't
the
know.
deal
They had,
app?
they had a really good.
Groupon?
Yeah, you got it on fucking.
They had a really good pamphlet.
Hey, kids,
all right? It
2
was
for
like-
1, and you get a free hat. You jump in there, it's just fucking floaties.
And they're chumming the water. And you're in there, and you're like, at first there were like some small ones, some like 5-footers, and
Get
you're
that
like,
shit out of my
like,
face.
oh, that's cool, I
I'll
did
slap
it.
the shit out of a 5 foot.
And then all of a sudden, like the water got like dark, and this giant fucking shark goes by, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I was hungover from the night before, so like I
Okay.
puked, and then there were like fish that were eating the
Wait,
puke.
you puked in the water?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I was
you
really
chummed the
hungover. I was
sharks
really
with
yeah.
vodka.
And then the shark was like swimming near it was like right there, and my foot went through the cage.
Hey, man.
Because it was rusted out,
that's
so my foot's hanging out. I'm like,
let us know what company that
and I'm
is.
like, hey, this might have been a bad
Yeah,
choice.
what company was this? Some dude who was like drunk as shit. Go, I got a cage.
I got kids.
I think it was a guy who was more of a fan of the sharks than the humans.
But it did.
You guys were good.
But
feeding.
you're supposed to get in there, and then you're supposed to realize that the sharks aren't scary, and you feel good about
Yeah.
it. That's not what happened for me.
You were terrified.
I was like, oh shit, I wasn't really afraid of sharks before, but now
Was it fucking?
you know-
Was it huge?
huge,
It's primordial.
huge,
It's
like
primordial.
15 feet,
That's
something
what I'm
like that,
talking
like
about.
huge.
When something can kill you with its face, there's something primordial about that. Like I fed a tiger once. Tiger just went. It got down and it went. And the woman goes, "Sorry, the vets are men. They don't like men at all." I had to stand behind a line. There was a cage. That feeling, and because you guys know, I'm not afraid of fucking shit.
Nah, you're
When I
like
saw
these
that,
guys.
I'm exactly like.
But
those
with
guys.
animals.
But with animals, and it was an experience. But I can't imagine a giant fish like that. Just a giant.
But you're not
locomotive.
touching it. Like if it went by, for sure.
Well, no,
touch
hold
it.
on.
Yeah.
You're not touching it.
I guarantee.
I get out and I ride his
Hey,
horse.
but I'm not that guy that like I was walking with my family who was in town last weekend. We were down Venice, and there's that dumbass with the giant python around his neck, and I'm never that guy that touches the animals.
Yeah.
Or there's a tiger. I'm not going near the tiger.
Would you jump into a gorilla cage?
Fuck no, like that kid.
Current events. Not.
Current events. What do you think about that gorilla?
No, I'll jump into you're way safer in a mountain gorilla's cage because they're vegetarians. Way safer. You
Not
jump
if they
into
feel threatened.
No, you jump into a chimp's cage.
Rip your
You
dick
jump-
face
you-
off.
You're done. So when you talk about handlers in the zoo, they never go in the cage with the chimps. From what I've
Really?
heard and read and listened to.
I didn't
from
know
the,
that.
Oh,
The more you know.
Chimps are brutal.
will rip your dick in
Tell
your face.
them what they
off.
I
do.
didn't know it
Tell
was
them what
because
they
the other
do
ones
first,
are-
B.
The first thing they do is they go for your genitals and your face.
That's
what
how they
do.
fight
Is this
each
real?
other.
Is this
That's
real?
the only
I swear
way
to God, it's
why
real.
I live is my face and
I know.
genitals.
This dude,
That's why they do it.
I read him a
together.
thing about this chimp. To give you an idea how strong
Wow.
chimps are, there was a traveling circus for 40 years, from 1940 to the 70s.
I couldn't stop laughing when we read this.
And I think it was called Edward's Ark or something. It was from 40, and they used to muzzle chimps. They were adolescents. They were 85-pound chimps, and in 30 years. Because they said for every time you can hold the chimp down for 5 seconds, for every 5 seconds you
this,
can
you're
hold
on
the
top,
chimp
push it on
down,
his shoulders.
we'll give you $100 or something like that. And lines of.
They're
Yep.
paying people to try and do
You got to hold him down on his back, basically,
Okay, yeah.
And so lines of wrestlers would line up and in 30 plus years, no man was ever able to hold an adolescent chimp down for more than 5 seconds. They couldn't hold it, not even close to 5 seconds.
Chimp wasn't even playing. He's like,
Chimp was like-
just would stand up.
Yeah, Chimp would kick you the fuck off, but here's the problem. They had the muzzle. Now, one day, they ended up having to make them wear gloves, mittens, because one day...
And you're worried about a shark cage, and this is the shit you're going to say?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A chimpanzee, one day, one of the chimpanzees was like, the guy's trying to hold, this big wrestler's holding the chimp. He's like, I'll get him. Tries to throw it in a headlock and get it to the ground. This chimpanzee took his fingers, stuck them right up that guy's nose, and busted his fucking nose out. Just pulled his nose apart. Just get it like that. Suddenly, like, yeah, you don't need a nose that looks like that. Get it. Fucking flattened his nose.
Think about that,
dude.
In the nose, koosh.
Yeah.
Boom.
And now the management of the fucking circus was like, all right, got to put mitts on him now.
They didn't question the whole idea.
No, the Hannibal Lecter mask isn't enough. Got to put some mitts on you.
Hey, how about that big meathead? Watch this, kids. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, God! Fucking Good God!
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, and also now, like they said, they were thinking about putting a fully grown male in there, and it was muzzled. And the guy said, "You're talking about an 85-pound chimp. That's a teenager. We put a 150-pound, 160-pound male in there. It'll break a man's back."
Dude,
That's what you
if
have to worry
it
about.
backhanded you, even
Yeah,
with
that's
mitts
what
on,
you
it
have to worry
would
about.
snap
It's not
your
how they do it.
ribs.
It's not how they do it. They just grab you and start pulling shit off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
They'll
fucking
go,
maniacs.
you don't need your jaw.
Cool nose.
Let's get rid of this hand.
We on Fire and Kid 3D. We have a scene where we shot with a baboon. Even the baboon, I was like, "Fuck this thing, man!" But we thought this guy was balls deep in gorillas and baboons. It's all he does with his life.
Yeah.
And he has like a whole reservation with all of them. And he was like really depressed because I was like, "Oh, you got any like chimpanzees back
like
there?"
a
'Cause we
spider
love
monkey?
them. Yeah, I'm like, "You got something cool back there besides this fucking baboon with his pink ass hanging out?" And he's all, I leave the chimp at home because it's a sad story, really. You can only have them work for 6 years, and then Hollywood just shuns them to the side because they're too old and they can't work
Too
anymore.
dangerous is what he said. Really.
No, they're too old and dangerous. He goes,
because their faces get black. They don't stay white. When
They
you see
look
a
older.
Chimp with a white face, that's a baby. As they get older, their faces darken. They look more ominous. They look, they don't look as cute. They look, mature. They look like
Yeah.
So check it out. So if you buy a chimp and you want to use them in Hollywood, you got 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, chimps live a long time.
45,
so you got a
50.
roommate, bitch, for the next 40-something
Yeah.
years.
Oh, and by the way-
you got to pay for his ass.
Yeah, and that roommate ain't having anybody else over. You understand? Because he's prone to rage, and when he rages, he might just pull your nostrils open, maybe take your face off,
Maybe rip your genitals
and
off.
For sure,
we just don't know.
Take your cock and
Well,
balls
Is
off.
that like the worst sex change? You just have a chimp rip your dick off
Yeah,
real
for-
quick?
yeah.
I mean, that sounds real cheap.
Boom.
Boom.
Chimp's like, yeah, I'll work. Gadoosh. Gadoosh. Gadoosh.
Yeah, he let me pull that
Just
bad
like
boy
picking
off.
fucking beets out of the ground. Just,
Oh,
like
yeah.
carrots.
Just
carrots.
yanks that dick off.
What a great job for a chimp. Look at us giving back.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy's listening right now like,
I'm not
that's
into
brilliant.
hand jobs, and definitely not that one. That
not that
sounds
chimp
horrible.
hand
Not that
horrible.
chimpanzee.
I didn't fully appreciate chimps until this
Oh, no,
this
no,
moment.
you don't. No,
right
no, no.
now.
Oh,
You
no,
don't-
I need you to respect
yeah.
the chimp. I need it. I need it, man.
Let's get a couple things straight. Couple things straight.
And then we'll move on from chimps.
Yeah, there are
But we
three
got to
animals.
show you the respect
Yeah,
here.
There are actually 3 animals you don't want to die by. One is bear, because what they're going to do is, first of all, I don't give a shit who you are. You're going to go, ah, and you're going to cover up, and he's going to start eating you ass first.
Ass first. He's going balls deep in that ass with his teeth.
So that's a
Yeah.
problem.
I knew that. They go for the ass first.
Okay, you guys knew that. Good.
Yeah. Now. Then
Sorry,
you
I
got.
would not normally like that.
I knew where you were
Then you got a chimp, and a chimp's going to take your face and your balls off.
I'd say chimp's number 1.
Yeah.
Face balls,
100%.
you're going to need that to
100%.
carry on.
I'm terrified.
What
So
else
they
you
straight
got?
up go for the jaw.
I then
That's
have
their
to
thing.
say, only because of the sheer terror of how slowly and how relentlessly they do it, a crocodile. You don't
Oh,
want a
see?
crocodile.
That's exactly what I was
No,
saying.
You don't want to have
Well, no,
murky
you're
water.
alive for that experience because you're getting spun,
yeah.
and
Right.
when they're trying to spin your
They
body in
drown
there,
you.
and
They
if
take you
another one
under.
comes in there and they're trying to rip you in half,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a bad day.
It's a bad situation.
It's a bad day.
Now, here's how you do want to die. A big cat, let's say a jaguar or jaguar, as I like to call them, that's grabbing you on the back of your neck, and you're going to sleep.
Yeah, your jugular going to bleed out in solid 8 seconds.
Real
That's
tough.
8 seconds.
So
to become
they
delayed.
clamp down and knock you out
That's right.
for
That's right.
for their own safety.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be like a blood choke, right?
Yeah.
It's a blood choke.
Yeah.
About 8 seconds.
They're
So like
the first.
Matt
They're the
goes-
first jujitsu players.
Matt goes, it's like a blood choke.
Right?
He got it right away, too. Yeah, that's it.
Now, poisonous snake.
Great
You don't
White
wanna die
would be
by
good.
poisonous snake.
Great
no,
White
that
would
sucks.
be
That
good.
Yeah.
sucks. Great White, you think? No, you're
It's
getting
fast.
It's over,
It's
brother.
fast.
No.
And what a cool story.
Actually,
You're gonna make CNN,
Sir, actually, if I may, I've done some research, and I hate to tell you this. Here's what great whites do, and it sucks.
They chomp you apart,
Chomp
right?
and then come back.
Yeah.
They take a
First,
bite and go,
they
that ain't
come up-
bad.
well, this is what they do to seals. They come up, bite you. You go like that, and yep, and like
Natural
that.
discovery,
and,
dude.
And then you're like, oh, my side, or oh, my leg's gone. Now here's
That
the
shark
thing.
goes, go ahead and think about that for a
Yeah,
second. I'm
they
gonna
let
take
you-
a little lappy lap.
Yeah,
Come
he's
on
gonna-
back.
he's gonna lap
I'm gonna
you.
take a little lap. See
They
how
lap,
you
yeah,
react.
because they do that with seals because they don't want to get hurt. So they'll bite and they go, you bleed out for a second. I'm gonna come back. You get all weak, and now you're all like, I can't tell my mom I love it, and get that, and now you're done. So
All right, that's
let's
shitty.
stay away from great whites as well. Poison snakes, great whites, chimpanzees, and
How about the
Yeah.
kid who committed suicide? His mom owned a exotic pet store, and he grabbed the most dangerous snakes, put them in his car, and just let him bite them to commit suicide. And they thought he was just like carrying the snakes, and then one bit him, he ended up dying. But they showed it like he was getting bitten, and kept going back to kill himself.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I think an elephant would be pretty easy because it's going to knock you out that first throw.
Ooh, that's a good
well,
one.
unfortunately, sir,
He's a subject matter expert.
That's where you're wrong.
sir, if I
Well,
may.
so what they do with their trunks.
Now I'm not saying to do this.
You're gonna put that trunk.
By the way,
You're gonna deep throat that trunk. It's pretty violent.
Elephants are overtly sexual. Apparently.
well, no,
You know,
the elefante will make mashed butter out of you. If you ever don't YouTube,
But that's quick.
they kick you around for a while. They kick
I
you
feel
around.
like you're gonna get
they
knocked
pick you
out
up.
pretty
Me
quick.
too.
Though.
I'm with you.
Right.
They step
no.
on your legs.
Bro,
they do some bad shit.
I got one for you. People hate when I keep bringing it up. If you go out like Mr. Hands, I don't know if you know the Mr. Hands video, the guy that fucked horses,
Yeah.
and that horse with the big
Right.
old dick was like, yeah!
Yeah.
And then boom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
quick death.
Yeah, well, not really, because he went to the emergency room and died in the emergency room, so he lived for a while. Hey guys, I know you're
legit
I know
points.
you're veterans and you've seen a lot of bloodshed, and here we are talking about ways to die. So
Yeah.
we apologize.
You got anything else, Ev?
We're not worried about it.
Yeah,
We're good. We love
yeah.
it.
I just learned a lot. I'm
know.
now
Don't fuck
scared
with
the
chimps.
fuck
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
chimpanzees.
Fuck a shark.
He's a wealth of knowledge.
don't die by an animal. Got it.
Yep, cleared. All right, so I'm just going to read the headline here for this one. The local and federal agencies handling American airports could not explain why an accused Somalian war criminal was hired as a security guard at the Washington, D.C. Dulles International Airport, despite the fact that authorities knew about these allegations.
Hey, man.
Give him a second chance. He kills a bunch of women. and
I
children.
mean, come
Give him
on.
a second
He's
chance.
the only guy that applied.
No, I think, but that's the problem. We shouldn't discriminate just because he, might have
He's a
killed
war
innocent
criminal.
people and he's a war criminal.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know-
it was in another, guys, it was in another
Maybe,
country.
maybe he
It
had
was
a bad
another country.
childhood.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we need to give the guy a little.
Well, that's government for you.
Is that the last one, Ev?
Yeah, that was the last one. Just,
That's real though, huh? Oof.
Just
real.
casually having what was his role there? Yeah, he was a military commander during Somalia's brutal as fuck civil war.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ah.
wow.
You can't have that.
That dude did some horrific shit to people.
Yeah.
For sure, find the guy with low blood sugar level and just have him kind of do it like everyone else. Usually, they're not too thrilled to be there.
Those guys are you saying they're not a bunch of guys like Matt Best and Nick
No, they're fine.
Get it?
Nick Shamu.
Palmisciano.
What I love having you guys in there because we bullshit all day about ISIS, what we do if there's a shooter, all this stuff. ISIS, what's if you could come up with a plan? Obviously, it's way more complicated than that. But what would be your best? I guess how would you say it'd be best plan of action to take care of this? Because we've started something that's not going away for a while. Obviously,
This is probably a long conversation, but
give me the bullet points though. Huh?
Well, the synopsis was the creation of ISIS stemmed from when we took down Saddam. The Sunnis was part of the Ba'athist Party. Pretty much got rejected. The Shias came in. We completely crushed their army. So we were like, oh, let's make a new army. Sunnis got really pissed. So Zakari back in the day was like, I'll recruit all these Sunnis. Recruited the Sunnis. That was kind of the uprising with Al Qaeda. He wanted to join Bin Laden. Bin Laden was like, not down with all this crazy shit you guys are doing because you're still killing Muslims. He gets killed. Baghdadi takes over, decides, okay, I'm going to follow in Zarqawi's footsteps, create the caliphate, which is ISIS, a state for pretty much Islam. And that's where we're at today. And they have strongholds in Syria, Libya, and they're everywhere. And it's
a short version is whenever we get into international politics, whenever we send people to war, we should have a very clear mission.
What we're getting into?
What we want to achieve. Because we went into Iraq with no clear mission.
That's right.
Whenever you go to a place where you have different ethnic groups that have had struggles for years, you need one of two things. You either have civil war or you have a brutal minority dictator. You look at the history of the world, that's the case. Right. Saddam Hussein was a brutal minority dictator, horrible person, did horrible things to people. But he was a reasonable hegemon in a very fucked up place in the world. Now that he's gone, Iran is the hegemon, and that is so much worse for us. Sure. So we go into a place we had no real plan. We
also didn't have an understanding of the history of that country.
We never do.
We were
never
very
do.
ignorant of their culture. We were very ignorant about the history of that country, and you're right. And also the role that Saddam Hussein was playing, and most importantly, the Sunni Shia divide is very important to take into consideration when you're going into a country like Iraq, or any of the Middle East.
So they should have been more educated on what they're getting into.
You had a bunch of people with limited understanding of, in my opinion, the history of that country, the culture of that country, and they had the hubris to believe that we could restructure the Middle East.
And whatever, we don't want to get too much in it, but the way that war was almost sold in the initial invasion was, they're trying to make a connection between Zarqawi and Saddam Hussein, that there was a part of, Saddam had a part in 9/11, which any agency report that came out through that whole, era, it disproves that claim.
So we've been better off just leaving Saddam.
Yeah,
it's hard pressed, but I mean, ultimately, like
I would say yes. I mean,
but that's what I hear from the overall.
But look at the difference between wars, right? Like there's no a good war. There's no such thing. But if you're going to do war, right? If you're going to engage in war, you do what Bush Sr. did, right? We're going to go in with overwhelming force, a real group of countries that care about this, with a clear mission. We're going to push Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. They did that in 100 hours, and then even though the world was saying, maybe you should push to Baghdad and get rid of Saddam, he said, no, we're stopping here because our mission is accomplished. We are not a conquering force.
In our lane, yes.
That's exactly right. And I think that's the difference between a wise leader and somebody who's impulsive and not as wise and not as experienced.
Yeah. I love hearing it from you guys, though, because we can talk to her blue in the face, and Brian's very educated on it. So obviously I get a lot of stuff from him. When you have two guys who have actually been through it, it's fascinating.
And you guys know
I could talk about it all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say something. We have a segment called Dropping Knowledge on this thing.
And it's just not about animals in the way.
I was going to say, that knowledge got dropped in me.
No, that's just life. Yeah. That's just us every day.
But I have to say, I very much appreciate that you guys are patriots and you're critical thinkers, and you are critical of the war effort in its own right. And I think that's part of your duty as an American. And I think there's a misconception in this country where you've got to be blindly loyal to, whatever the war effort is. Just because you are critical of war effort doesn't mean you're not a patriot. In fact, it might mean that you want to keep men and women in uniform out of harm's way. There's a place for that. But I will say, as you guys are veterans, and I just want to say this, there's this, you hear people say war's not the answer, war never solves anything. Well, war did solve some things. It stopped slavery in this country. It stopped fascism in Europe. It put a damper, and it certainly contained communism, which in my opinion is one of the great evils for a lot of reasons. So back to your point, and this is something I want you guys to think about. Yes, war is horrible. Yes, war oftentimes is not the answer, but there is a place. There is a place, and we owe much to our veterans. And in many ways, if it wasn't for our veterans, we might be specken the Deutsch right now. Okay, and the other
German.
issue is to support the effort. There is something called Islamic fundamentalism out there. It is a threat. It is a credible threat to this country, and something has to be done. It's a question of how we do that. So educate yourself like these guys have done, and probably had no choice but to do. So thank you for your service, I guess is what I'm saying. We owe much to our veterans. And it's great to have you guys here.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, we got some fan questions. We got a
absolutely.
shitload. So,
That got so
did you ever get them, B?
I will say,
you just want me to read them, Ev, or you want to read them?
These days, because I think people have an issue like being a patriot.
Well,
I think
being a patriot,
you can be a critical thinker and
of course,
and believe in whatever a liberal side, Republican side, and still be a patriot.
Well, being a patriot is what? Being a patriot is being loyal to the idea that is the United States, the Constitution, the
Protecting
Bill of
them,
Rights, the
yes.
Federalist.
But that's the thing. To me, in 2016, it feels like nationalism is almost a disgusting part of society. And it's like nothing's wrong with it. Stand for, believe in the nation, but then conform to what you believe we should be doing as a nation with foreign policy, with social rights, and all those things. Like,
yes,
don't knock the red, white, and blue. Like that's something we should all believe in and come together to
Mark Twain said
work on the
something.
freedoms.
Mark Twain said something awesome. He said, "Loyalty to my country always, to my government only when it deserves it."
Yep.
So I think that's a great way to just. That's a
Boom,
great.
Mark
Summarize that. Dropping knowledge.
Boom.
How about that? How about that, motherfuckers? And
Boom, bitch.
Before we get into fan questions, I do want to say that I have seen Range 15. I didn't know if I was allowed to say it because I didn't know.
Yeah,
if
for
I,
sure.
I was there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I have to say, because this is my plug for the movie.
It's fun.
It's funny as shit. It's fun, and in many ways, it's one of the more unique visual experiences in a good way you will ever have. And Matt Best, I might go out on a limb, Matt Best, and listen, he might be a legit movie star. So Hollywood, if you're watching, get this
The
kid
other
in
thing,
the fucking movie.
just
man. It means a lot.
name,
Thank
just to get the people on board. Not that they're not already on board. Just talking to you guys, but name some of the people who are involved in this movie. So obviously, one of our favorite human beings on planet Earth, Tim Kenny's in the movie.
Yep.
Who else is in it?
Two hot dudes, Brian
Used to-
Callen and Brendan Schaub.
Yeah.
We are in
These
that
guys
bitch.
right here.
We are in that bitch.
So on the military side, it is the most distinguished military movie of all time. So we've got 2 Medal of Honor recipients in Clint Romachet and Leroy Petrie. We've got Marcus Luttrell. We've got 3 Silver Star recipients, 20 plus Bronze Star recipients, 30 plus Purple Hearts. So on the military side, it's a who's who of total studs. Even going back to like Dale Dye from Vietnam. I mean, we've got everybody in
Did
it.
you mention I was a captain of my wrestling team?
I did not know that.
High school.
I didn't. What weight class?
I'm fucking with you.
Keep going, man. Who else you got, brother?
And on the actor side, we've got William Shatner, Sean Astin.
He's great.
He was awesome.
Shatner.
Keith David, Danny Trejo, Randy Couture,
Jesus.
Martin Kleba. I mean,
And Keith David's great.
he's
Keith
awesome.
David's funny.
Yeah,
He crushed it in the movie. I
Oh,
thought.
you're talking about a motherfucker.
pro.
Keith
He's fucking
David.
seasoned. You look at his
Keith
IMDb,
David.
you're like, did
Yeah.
it scroll this
Dude,
much?
it just says
Bro,
everything.
It says
It's just everything.
You're talking about a real actor. I mean, that
Big
motherfucker
deal.
is- Oh, yeah, you got some great. Danny Trejo's great. I mean,
He was
come on.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
He was awesome.
Dude, I was in El Paso, flying to LA, and I sit in my seat and look to the left, and there's Danny Trejo.
Come
And I was
on.
like, hey, man.
What's
I'm
up, dog?
That dude from the military
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, that's great.
It's crazy.
The
Small
bottom
world.
line is, if you don't see Range 15, and this is not a big deal, if you don't
You're
see
ISIS.
maybe you should leave the country.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't see it, just get the fuck out of our country.
Maybe we should check your background.
Can we-
That's all I'm saying. Maybe
I
that's all-
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And now when you go through the airport, then you say, "Have you seen Ranger 15?" No. Okay, step to the right.
Why don't you get a fucking timeshare in Syria, you piece of shit? I'm sure Russia's got plenty of housing for you, you fucking traitor. Anyway, let's keep going with fan questions.
Let's go to some fan questions.
I don't want to get too
If
aggressive.
you haven't seen Raid 15, go ahead and jump in that gorilla exhibit.
Can we
What
throw a
else you
small
got?
plug in there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out the film, if you go to range15.com or tugg.com, which is tug.com, you can purchase tickets for
Yeah.
our nationwide screening on June 15th. We'd love to have you out.
And so the way we're doing this is really weird too, because Hollywood tried to buy the movie after they rejected us, but once they saw there was hype around it, they tried to buy it, but we said no. So we're doing all this distribution ourselves.
Love
if people don't buy tickets in the next 3 days,
You're gonna die.
then you could die. But no, the next 3 days basically identifies what cities the theaters are gonna.
He said
You could die.
He's super serious about it.
super serious.
I was like, oh shit, really?
What
I
is
was
it?
like, oh
Wait,
my
if they
God.
don't buy tickets in the next 3 days, what?
The next
Sorry.
3 days determines what cities they're going to be in. So if we don't
Say you're
sell
gonna
enough
die.
in certain cities, like there are of the 500 theaters that it's in, 300 are locked. We've got 300 or 3 days to lock the next 200. So if people want to buy tickets in the next 3 days, that's huge for us.
We'll release this today, probably, right, Ev? So, and then whatever promotional stuff you have on social media, we'll blast out on our end. So let's get this bitch going.
You'll blast for me?
I will blast it. The only thing you have to do is blast coffee in my face.
Oh, yeah. I'll hook you
I
up.
need some of that Black Rifle coffee.
I got you. I
need
got
that
you.
strong shit, man.
I got you.
I'm like a crack
I'm gonna
addict.
blast.
It's great coffee.
Would you ever
It's
say
really
that when
good.
you're about to lose it? Do you ever go, I'm about to blast? I say, I'm gonna bust. I don't say blast.
You say bust?
Yeah.
Nah. I say weird shit like herpes, and then what? I mean, no. I don't have it. I thought I'd say it.
Oh, no.
I just like the way it sounds.
I just say,
Just like
you're
the way it
welcome.
sounds.
Or sometimes I say, God bless America.
Yeah.
That's what I say, because I'm a patriot.
Or thanks, Mom. One of the two. Whatever you want to go on.
Thank you, Mommy.
What do you got, Ev? I'll stop that right there. What do you got,
Sometimes I
Ev?
say this. Sometimes when I come, I go,
Brian and I will go down a deep, dark hole together.
Yeah, sometimes I go,
What do you
I'm
got, Ev?
Brian's gonna keep going once you literally.
I
put your
know.
hand over.
Carry on, Ev.
I'm gay, I think.
I'm gay. Oh!
What the fuck was that? See, now I got Matt Best on my train.
No.
Can I
Brandon's trying to bring it back.
I do want to share one really important thing about the movie.
Yeah.
All of the sex noises in the movie, all of them, men, women, doesn't matter, were done by Matt Best.
Is that true? You fucking sick mother.
You are a creep, sir.
Dude, I was in the ADR booth just going,
It's pretty legit. Pretty legit.
By the way, his mouth is downright
Yeah,
creepy.
well, it's
We
gay,
used to see his
bro.
mouth. He was jutting his chin forward, going. I almost threw up. I almost literally threw up on my lap.
I got the zombie noises too for you.
Pixar, my
Yeah.
Let me hear
Pixar's
the zombie
listening.
noise.
Zombie fuck noise. Like really like thrusting in.
Bro,
You know?
I feel sick.
I
feel sick.
You are representing the American military. Can you get it the fuck together? I'm going to apologize to
You're the
everybody.
baddest man on the
I'm
planet.
not a good foreman for
I want
this.
to apologize to everybody. in
How
uniform.
excited was he to do those noises?
It was
Baddest man
my
on the
favorite
planet.
part. Like people are like, dude, you were the lead in the movie. No. But I did the sex noises.
I have a huge,
All right, Ev, what do you got?
I got a
How
huge
many
heart on
sex
right now.
scenes were in this movie?
We can't talk about that. You have to see Range 15.
A lot.
Hey, watch the movie in the next 3 days or go get the fuck out of my country. All right. Go ahead.
All right, first question. What parallels can be drawn between the world of fighting and life in the military, and how do they complement each other?
I'd say none if it's coming from me.
Actually, I'll let Nick take this one. If you didn't know, Nick was an amateur boxer. You got 16 fights, 14 wins, 2
16
losses.
Fights. I was a
Damn.
big judo
guy too?
Oh, cool, man.
Got shoulders for days.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I always think it's weird. It's always it drives me nuts when guys go, we're going to war in that octagon. No, you're fucking not. Me and Brian, Tim Kenny, and I were doing a commentating job on it for jiu-jitsu, and the guy would go. The guy who was doing it's a jiu-jitsu match, by the way, so it's not even a fight.
not even
He'd go, war, to start it. And I was like, I was like, someone has to tell him to stop doing that. Can someone please get in his ear? He kept doing it. And I told Tim, I go, wait for it. And he goes, war. Tim stands up and goes, where? I'm like, dude, stop. I hate when people make the comparisons. What we do is a game. There's some physical issues on the line, like, head trauma and stuff like that, but it's a game. What we're doing is a game. It's nowhere near the same. The nerves aren't the same. The stakes aren't the same. We're getting paid for it. There's fame for it. To me, it's not even close in the same realm.
But it doesn't bother me because I know people don't mean it literally. So like if you want to say we're going to war, boys, over a football game or something, like that doesn't bother me. Like
Yeah.
There was that
Doesn't bother me at
saying.
all.
it bothers some
It's-
guys.
it's-
There was that
hype, but
great
it-
saying though that when football players, your coach goes, let's go to war, but nobody, when you're running out on a battlefield, a real battlefield, nobody's saying we're going to play football, guys. So there is.
I did that every time. dude.
But I actually
Go run this ball.
for
into the end
me personally, combat sports were a huge part of getting prepared for the military. Like in wrestling, you just learn to grind. Like,
Sure.
like everything sucks.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna grind,
Embracing
or
that
you're
suck.
hungry and you still have to grind. Like fast forward to Ranger School, and they withhold food and sleep from you for 2.5 months. And
2.5 months?
Yeah,
That's a long
I mean,
time.
you're eating, but
Yeah.
like you're on a starving
it
diet.
sucks.
Yeah,
It
I lost 55 pounds. And
Wow.
and
Yeah, 35.
Yeah.
I was
You
a
lost
skinny bitch,
35?
though. Yeah, I was a skinny little bitch.
Hey, can you guys? This is fascinating to me. We'll get back to the fighting in war, even though there's no comparison. But that Ranger school, like, what are we like a typical day? What are we talking about here?
So I went through the school, and I was also an instructor later. Basically, what happens is you get a mission first thing in the morning, and you have new leadership. So they pick, okay, today you're a squad leader. You guys are team leaders.
And that's a graded position. You need to go to pass Ranger School.
You need to pass that. And so they have a mission they have to get through, and about halfway through the day, they change all the leadership. The mission doesn't change, but they change the leadership. So you get graded for different portions. So you wake up, and when I say wake up, some days you don't sleep. Some days you sleep an hour. A good day is 4 hours.
Well, call time's what usually?
It doesn't really work like that.
You don't really sleep.
Oh, whenever.
Yeah. So it all revolves around what the mission is. Like some missions are super boring and some missions are cool. Like one of the last missions, you're doing that whole row out to an island thing. Everyone's hanging off the side of the boat and you're hitting an island and trying to save somebody. But most of them are just, you've got to go here and do an ambush. You've got to go here and do a recon of something.
But the goal is to make you as uncomfortable. They starve you. They lack a sleep deprivation, just so you're under you're having to make like wartime decisions under the most stressors that you can put on a physical body without getting shot at, which is
people do die too in those training sessions.
How many? I think there's like 6 people that have died in Ranger School. They've changed it since those
guys
days.
froze.
And is Ranger and then Ranger School and then to become a Navy SEAL completely different, right?
Different. They go to BUDS, but a lot of those guys will go to Ranger School. So, and that's the funny thing is every school is different. Guys will come from BUDS, go to Ranger School, and not pass.
Interesting.
So I mean, it's a different kind of suck.
The Ranger School in the Army, so not to get too much in the Army stuff, but it's a combat qualification course. So anybody in the Army can actually attend it. Because if you're an infantry officer, they automatically give you the opportunity to do it. So if you ever see an infantry officer without a tab, that guy quit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But so anybody can go to that, and then
Do you because you've been through it, right? You obviously went through it. You went through it. When you see guys quit, did it give you more kind of?
I love it.
Right? Yeah. Give it up.
Yeah.
Dude, especially in the selection process going to 75th Ranger Regiment, whenever people be sucking, I'm down myself. Like, dude, this sucks. Been up for 2 days. I'm smoked, and someone be like, I quit. I'm like, yeah. Pussy.
Yeah, exactly. I was telling Brian during again, not to compare it, but during Division I football, they called it dirty dozens, and it was winter conditioning. What they did is they'd make the worst condition possible. You'd have to do all these circuits, and it would start off with 160 guys trying to make a 100-man roster, and we'd have to run sprints. How many times people mess up, we'd run sprints. I'll never forget, it'd be 5 a.m. in the morning. I'd be in a 3-point stance, and I'd be throwing up because I was so exhausted. I'd be throwing up on my hand. I'm like, dude, I don't know how much I can go on. And then some dude would just raise his hand. That's how you know you want to get out. He'd quit, and I'd be like, oh, fuck yeah. It would just give you this energy like, you fucking suck. Yeah.
Dude, I will say the initial question with the military and sports or fighting, I think it's very similar, especially like the harder sports, football, wrestling, fighting, like – You're just being a professional at being uncomfortable. Yeah. You know how it is in the training. That's what being in the military is. You have to learn to be uncomfortable, where you're always like, this sucks. I hate this.
And that makes sense.
That's why
I got a whole theory. The more that you suffer in life, the better you are at everything, because you can withstand anything.
We finally got it.
We're getting away from that ideal, dude. Nick, we're getting away
especially
from that
with
ideal.
kids, right?
Yeah, we spend so much time trying to keep our children safe and comfortable, and I couldn't agree more. I think that the more you test yourself, the more you put. I think combat sports, I'm very aware of how tough I'm not. That's very important.
It is important.
I think all sports. I mean, combat sports are obviously, but I think all sports, because these days, especially around here, it's like every kid gets an award. Well, man, I remember as a young kid, I'd get like 4th place. It fucking sucked, man. So I trained my ass off. Next year, I'd get the 1st place. But when you give everyone the same award, that doesn't fucking work.
I call it emotional intelligence, because it's like the more you suffer and you're uncomfortable, the more you learn about yourself, and you're aware of what you're capable, because everybody's innately different through physicalities and intelligence, but like through being uncomfortable and living a hard life, you tend to, okay, this is what I'm good at, this is what I can succeed in, and that gives you the ability to be like, all right, I'm gonna help society out in the best means that I can.
I agree, but
I can't be a doctor. I got shaky ass hands.
You'd be surprised.
I'm not smart enough.
Yeah, you're not getting a tattoo artist.
You learn what you're good at. You learn what you. I think it's a really good. It goes back to being self-knowledge. It really does go back to understanding.
But it also shows you how like during my winter conditioning, when I saw guys break, or in all the years of training in these MMA gyms, seeing guys break, you realize what you're good at and how strong mentally you are at the same time.
Isn't that wisdom? Isn't that you kind of get a good clear sense of what your limitations are, and you sort of come to terms with that in a way. you do define yourself on what you're willing to fight for, but you also define yourself on what your limitations are to an extent.
But you also realize how different you are than everyone else.
Yeah, man.
I think you realize, like, oh, I'm not like these fucking guys. That guy quit after the 6th
Did you ever
round.
think you could do stand-up for 900 people and make people laugh for 10 minutes straight?
No.
Yeah. So it's like you start to learn. Well, you also kind of learn how to accomplish something. You know, don't you? I mean, you kind of go, well, this is going to suck for a while. I'm going to hit plateaus. I'm going to hit valleys. I'm going to hit peaks. And but today, if nothing happened, or today, if I sucked, that's what happened.
But it's also like, if whatever situation is, if it's that clear, if it's Ranger School or something, and you guys are sitting around, those guys know that if shit hits the fan, I'm not going to be the guy that breaks. You know what I'm saying?
They know
and
you're not going to
this,
quit.
Yeah, there's this weird kind of totem pole where it's like, yeah, man. Like there's no awards, but we know what's up. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing to have.
And you don't
Really
know, when you were telling that story before of the UFC fighter quitting on that obstacle,
I'll never forget
you know,
that.
you don't know who's going to quit at Ranger School or in anything. Like you day one, man, there are guys that are they're huge and they're shredded and they just look like, you look at them and you're like, we're not even the same species, man. Like and you see these little guys and you're like, how's that guy going to make it 2 months carrying this ruck around? And like, you know, you don't know who's going to quit. Some of those big guys quit 3 days in. It's not even hard yet.
Yeah.
Some people can bear down. You two are obviously an example of that.
What else you got?
I said I otter down. I'm not a bear. I'm an otter down.
I knew it.
Okay? I'm an otter down.
Before you
I
even
ottered
said
down.
it, I knew it was coming.
What
You got this glint in your eye.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, gay joke.
Took the otter name right away from
I know. What would Brian be though in the gay community?
Twink for sure.
He's too hairy for a
Dude,
twink.
I'm the fucking supervisor. I hold the video camera and the whip. Come
So
on,
you're the gimp.
Come on, you bully boys. No, I'm
Or a power bottom?
I'm the boss.
Power
I'm
bottom.
the boss.
Or power top, whatever you want.
He said, "I'm the boss."
I'm the boss.
The boss.
I'm the rangy. I'm the.
What do you
rangy.
got, Ev?
Matt, so we've been trying to
50-year-old
figure
boss.
out, because I had a huge beard and I was like, the nickname that they gave me was Evan the Beard, stuck forever. 3-year beard, finally got rid of it. So now they've been rotating between the Cub, the Otter, all this shit. What am I?
I like the Cub.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cub.
We're going with the Cub.
It's the Cub.
Because
Evan the Cub, then.
It's kind of manly if you took it
That's
one
it
way.
then. Evan
it's
the
good.
Cub then.
Yeah.
There it is.
He's a handsome
Finally
guy.
got
He's
to the
got
bottom
it.
of it now.
2 more questions,
Evan.
Ev, and we'll get these guys out of here. I know you guys got a big premiere.
All right, taking Tim Kennedy and Brendan out of the equation, who on set of the movie is most likely to win a fight against everyone else on set?
Well, that's good.
That's a tough one. It's a tough one. Rocco's got the best hands.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's a lot of people on set that like to fight.
Yeah, there's a lot
I
of-
like to train Muay Thai. Rocco's a good boxer. Obviously, his background, judo and boxing.
Don't let Randy Couture get a hold of you.
Yeah.
Any-
yeah, Randy.
Yeah,
Randy. We're gonna go with Randy Couture.
By the way,
Randy Couture would be
By the way,
Oh, that guy. Yeah. What is he? Did he fight?
Yeah. By the way, thanks for
Yeah, we had
Randy
we had
let's also
12.
take Randy out of the equation because I can tell you.
Don't take Randy out.
We had
of the
12
three.
UFC fighters on
It's,
set.
you guys missed at the end. There's like
You had
12.
Phil Davis,
Phil
right?
Davis. Oh man.
That's my boy, man.
Keith Jardine.
Steven Thompson, Josh Thompson.
You got a lot of bad motherfuckers in that.
Jorge Rivera. I mean, we had a lot of people. It was cool.
What else you got, Ev?
All right, with a bunch of silly geese on set, what was the funniest moment during the filming of Range 15?
For me personally, it was a special scene with Matt Best.
Fuck you. I am in a severely compromised position in this film at one point.
Matt
and
takes the
let's-
cure. He was bitten and he has to receive the cure, and it's a special moment.
You should watch the movie for that one reason.
Yes, you should.
I am unbelievably emasculated. My mother will be watching this tonight. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. I might be up for adoption, so we'll see. We'll
Disown
see.
you? All right, fellas, one last time. Where can they find it? What do they need to do to support you guys?
Range15.com and buy tickets. The earlier, the better. The more tickets people buy early, the better chance we have of actually getting this everywhere nationwide.
Give me your clothing company, Ranger Up,
RangerUp.com, and he's Article15.com.
and Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Boom, guys. We
One
can't
last
thank you
thing,
enough,
too. I
man.
want to say thank you to you guys. We're all fans of the podcast. You guys kick ass.
I want to say
so we
these
love
guys.
you. Thank you.
These guys
Pleasure.
did this. They did this for nothing, and they did not have to do that. They.
We love being part of it, man.
And I will say, when they show up in set, we're gonna stroke them a little bit here. They didn't have to stay as long as they did. They talked with everybody. They ad-libbed a bunch of stuff, which actually made it into the movie.
I
and
believe
made
it's
it
called improv, man.
improv ad-lib.
I believe it's called improv.
Guys, bottom line,
I'm not a
guys,
professional.
Bottom line is we improvise for our country.
We did it for the country.
Well, I had to drive almost 45 minutes to that set.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. Matt Best, you're welcome. And this is Brian Callis saying, you're welcome, Matt Best, and Nick Palmisciano.
We love you guys, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks,
coming
guys.
on. Come back
Thank you.
anytime.
Yeah, I really appreciate
This
it.
is the Violent Kid. We're out.